Hey guys, welcome to our review of Kamen Rider 01, episode 34. As always, I'm your host, the Frozen Stratos. Here with me today we have
The Cinder Blaze.
And we have a special guest once again, Willy J. Call you Willy J. Bro. How's it going, my man?
It's going.
It's going. We're going to do this episode because yesterday we watched this episode so that you guys can respond to it, and a lot of you did. There's a lot of comments, but before that, we're just going to dive in to our thoughts, and I thought this was a nice time. It was a pleasant surprise to actually see Yaiba do something again. That was nice, like, of her own accord. She didn't transform, which is fine, because, like, the plot needed her to, like, actually be a part of it for once, which is nice. Yeah, I don't know. I found this episode to be pretty enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if Fua transformed. I know he got his
He started too, and then the guys went away.
Yeah.
So the jingle stopped.
Yeah.
He got henshin blue balled.
yeah.
Blue ball it.
Yeah, exactly. Henshin blue ball it. Exactly.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that this ended up being a pretty plot focused episode, because we just started with the vegetable human gear, and I'm just why now? This is something we could have in episode 4 or 5, and then probably 6 minutes in, Hirobi kind of shows up and is like, you know what, I'm gonna be the main villain again. All right, let's just blow shit up. Shoots up all the vegetables the badass he is, and just jumpstarts him. I was like, hey, yeah, I'm down.
I found it to be a neat subversion of what we're typically used to, because last episode we just sort of dealt with Human Gear of the Week, same with the week before. But here it was oh, we're moving into that, but we're actually using it as a vehicle to jumpstart the plot. They used her to motivate Arto into getting the space dude key for them that they needed, and then it also gave us some setup to the Chia Pet looking dude, the
doctor thing.
Yeah. And I just thought weaving that all together was really smart, because we got a chance to understand the dude's struggle and see some humanity behind the people using the Zai gear or the Zaya spec. We saw the random people rampaging, but when the dude threw his dad to the floor, that really struck a chord.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very effective.
Yeah, and I think I really like this use of the Zai spec just because he really wanted to help in his own way. He knew that the human gears were useful. It was not something well, I don't trust human gears, I'm gonna do the Zai spec instead. He's no, I know the human gears are really good, they're helpful. It looked like he had a crush on his human gear basically. But after the Hirobi incident, he's no, I have to step up myself, and that's why he got the Zai spec, which I was I'm okay with it. I hate Bowser and all of his inventions, but in this situation, it's pretty neat. Yeah. And then because we already had a father-son bond kind of started up in this quote filler portion of the episode, it just kind of looped right back into a bunch of the other stuff we're kind of dealing with. I know we watched the movie pretty recently, so I kind of have some of that in my head. But we also have Hirobi's origins they kind of touched on, which I thought was pretty nice thing to touch on. As we're kind of transitioning into him being one of our major antagonists, just to remind the audience where he kind of comes from, who he is, just so we can kind of connect with the villain a little bit more. And I think that this is a pretty good setup for probably the finale of the series. So I thought it was pretty neat.
Yeah, and there was a really big through line of fatherhood this episode. The side characters had it. The main characters discovered the villain basically has it, and it reframed the context of this show in a in a pretty interesting way. Like to actually see that maybe behind Hirobi's cold moves, like him just blindly following the arc, there is some bit of him left. And I thought that was really great.
Yeah. Like personally, I feel like a lot of like the reason he's not like strictly following the arc as much as he is because he's very protective in nature. Like I guess he is like the father humor gear, and like for him, like all like the newer humor gear are kind of like his children.
Right. And he
In a
feels the need to
way.
protect them, and
Yeah.
he sees the arc as the way to protect all of them.
Yeah, it is the way. Like
Yeah.
there are other ways, but like this is definitely gonna be the one that's gonna be the best for all the human gear. And having it based off of like Arto's dad was like pretty neat. And like the way that Arto kind of like handled that situation, like I really like it when writer does this where they set up like situations that make our main writer shine. Like I think one thing that I really liked from like Drive was when Chinosuke was kind of dealing with like his father's murderer. Like we got a lot of good character moments out of him. And I feel like they're doing the same here in 01. And like I already like Aruto, but this just made me like him a little bit more. The way he like handled it maturely. Like he gives off that CEO-esque vibe. Like he's somebody you can trust with the human gear.
And on top of that, it's like we know already that he really wants to help human gear and he's out for their best interest. But when it's a model similar to his father's, he's fighting harder to bring that person back or bring that human gear back. And it definitely showed in what he was doing. Yeah. Well, how you feling?
Good. You guys are just going. I wanted to let you guys talk. It's fine. I just wanted to let you guys talk. Yeah, but we also got the stuff with Naki too. So they apparently freed her from Fua. At least it seems that way right now.
Yeah.
And
I am hesitant because like I was really liking, or at least I would have loved more interactions between him and Naki, just to sort of flesh out what that relationship is like before, soon we will rip it away. Then we'll actually feel that that character beat a lot more. I assume they're gonna like rip her away or like turn her into some pawn for the will of the arc. So I'd like to have more of a connection, and Alex and I still haven't seen the Thouser movie, so we still don't have too much, not movie, the special.
Yeah.
So we still don't have too much context on it yet.
I mean, there's not too much more. I've only seen the first part, but I mean, you just get a little bit more of a sense of Naki's personality. The way they showed them really quickly, I don't know if it's gonna be Naki completely like in their truest form, because their eyes were all glowing red and they were all batshit or whatever. So I don't know if necessarily that is gonna be the true form of Naki, but it's just definitely gonna be the one we're gonna be having around for now. Now, I saw this thrown around. I wasn't sure, but I'm wondering if Naki was what's Burning Falcon?
Jin. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that was Naki in the suit, because they were silent, and ordinarily Jin has no problem talking. So...
Yeah, and like he is genuinely on the side of human gear and on Aruto's side rather than the will of the arc. And it's not out of the ordinary to see another rider hop into another dude's suit. Like we saw Michi hop into his brother's suit and impersonate him for a while. But I think it might just like it could either be her, or it could either be Naki, or it could be Jin taken over by whatever's happening to Naki.
Yeah.
Something. But I feel like we're setting it up to, because their interests, like Jin and Hirobi's interests, only aligns insofar as Naki's release. And now they're going to part ways again, unless Jin is either brain controlled or, is just taken by the arc.
I mean, for me, I'm not fully convinced that Jin is completely separated from Hirobi's plan. Just because like Hirobi has a very convincing argument, like to save the human gears, like this is what has to be done. Like I feel like Hirobi's giving off that sensible vibe. Like he understands that Jin kind of wants to do it his own way, but he's just like, nah, this is the way it's gotta be, and he's kind of like already kind of spearheading his plan. So Jin might just be like kind of roped off like along with it. And like there wasn't enough to convince me that the suit or the Burning Falcon suit didn't have Jin in it. Like if it was Naki, then I feel like that would have required a lot more things. I think like Hirobi would still consider Jin like somewhat on his side. It's not like he's gonna backstab her or anything. Like
Sure.
he did with like the vegetable human gear this episode. Like the second you're tamed by a human, boom, stab. I mean, if he feels that Jin was like on Aruto's side slightly, he might have just killed him. Like to be honest.
Here's the thing. That's his son. And that, as a human gear, is basically what he was programmed for, fatherhood. And he would have
killed the other human gear without like, hesitation.
But Jin specifically is his son. He said as much toward the beginning of the show before he gave him the progress key. Right?
Yeah.
And I think like Jin found that way through Aruto for them to reach singularity without them joining the arc, because he knows the will of the arc it's basically another master for them to serve. And I don't know. I don't think Jin would really get behind Hirobi's ideals. He could have been like, Jin could have been compelled to go out there. He might not want to, but that information or that progress key, he didn't give it to Hirobi. Might be something they need like as another piece to like fix something, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, like I also feel like they would want to keep Jin around like in his suit just so we can interact with people a little bit more. So if Naki just took his progress key, that would be a little bit weird. It would kind of like muck things up, in my opinion.
I mean, it seemed like they could have been easily blindsided by Naki just sort of like coming to sentience, saying, "Hey, for the will of the arc," and then beating their asses, taking the key, and then leaving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Yaiba was there. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh man. Shoot, there was like one other thing I wanted to touch on. I think it was you know what? I can't think of it right now. Someone talk about something else.
That's fine.
Maybe.
Will, how are you feeling coming out of this episode?
I'm still enjoying everything. Yaiba is doing something, of course. She hadn't really been. She had been taking more of a back seat, but and I know people are probably thinking maybe now she'll get more focus as a writer, but I think what they're really going to be leaning on is kind of her engineering like forte, which I don't mind because that means she's still contributing. Yeah. So and that's fine. If that's how she can contribute, that's great. And if she can contribute while fighting, that's even better. Because we're having the standard Humagear soldiers, and then we're also gonna have the crab, the horseshoe crab guys roaming around with Bowser and stuff. So Yaiba can handle all that while the main stuff is going on. You know what I mean? And so I'm fine with that.
I mean, I definitely appreciate they're taking more of a character approach to her.
Oh yeah, they could have very well easily just had her go away after last episode.
Yeah.
Which is more likely of what Ryder would normally do. But yeah, you know, I appreciate that she's still around. I appreciate that she's still contributing, even if it's in a different way. It's not something that's totally weird for her character to do, because you know they established before that's her whole engineering part. That's why she became a writer in the first place.
Right.
So it's not one of those weird things the writer just pulled out of their hat just because they wanted to do something with the female character. And then now Zaya cannot possibly be in a good light in the public eye.
Yeah.
There's
my God.
no possible way after all of this that Zaya could come out with a clean record, and I'm really happy about that. And so this is going to be I'm hoping it's going to be the part of the show where we see Bowser's role shift. I don't think he's going to die. I just think they're just not going to do it. I think he's just going to be one of those guys that just kind of lingers around, even though his time is very much clearly up. But I think he'll just take more of a backseat while we build up, Natsubo and Rai and all that stuff. And that's fine. It just might make him, I don't know.
I have a counter argument to that. So he could easily just film all those attacks and then just say that those were all fake. And then they'll believe him.
It's true.
But that's not... We haven't not seen that before in this show specifically.
Yeah, that's true. I mean...
if he just was on live TV and assaulted people, then maybe there might be something there where they might, be a little bit more angry towards him. It's like, oh, did you just hack that Humagear just to attack people?
The only way I would be entertained by Bowser anymore, after he gets thoroughly beaten next episode, or however many it takes to conclude that, but the only other way is if he takes the kick hopper punch hopper approach, the disgraced vagabonds just traveling around and living their life.
Yeah. The whole thing with Bowser, I'm as frustrated about Zaya having as good of a reputation as he does, even though clearly there's been many instances where it's like, how the frick is this possible? This makes no sense. You literally you did the equivalent of giving someone a loaded gun on camera, and you're still fine. What happened here?
It is strange. You have to consider, on one hand, that's that's what the writers are intending. He's not supposed to be a good guy, so he's supposed to do bad things. You're not supposed to like it. But they don't make it seem like they don't do it in the way that's clever. They just sort of force him into the spot of superiority with zero basis whatsoever, because he's exposed himself so many times blatantly. And we just have to pretend that the public's going to be fine with that.
And I'm wondering if more so that's about that just goes into how deep the corruption is with Zaya, just in terms of the public in general, and it could be that type of thing, because honestly, it really doesn't make any sense. And but so I'm hoping to see after this is a noticeable shift in the public perception, even if, because I have a feeling even after this he'll still have supporters or whatever, because hey, in the real world, evil people have supporters all the time, especially in this type of environment that they're creating. So I feel like we're gonna
there can't be a public opinion if there is no public. We are so close. Oh man, I'm sorry. I had to throw that bit in there. Sorry.
That's fair. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. We'll see how it looks afterwards. Regardless, it's not about Thouser right now, and
True.
that's very much. I mean, that's very much clear that that is the direction they're going with. Thouser's not the main focus anymore. It's Metsubo Jinrai again, and so it's just we're going to be focusing on them. And so whatever happens with Zaya happens.
I'm very happy about that. And you know what else I'm happy about?
Comments you received on this episode?
Hell yeah, dude. We got a lot. So let's just dive into those. Our first one comes from Ryuguno, who says, this is another good episode. Not too much happened other than people going crazy because of the Zaya specs and Naki having a new body. But of what did happen, I really enjoyed. Especially the revelation of Hirobi being based on data specifically from Aruto's dad. That and Fuwa getting neck chopped twice was pretty funny. With people now acting crazy, let's see how 01 picks up from here. Maybe he picks up his old company? Who knows? God, I hope so. Whew says, this episode proves how Metsubo Jinrai are way better villains than Guy, in my opinion. Absolutely. Naki finally got a body again. I'm interested in what their role will be for the show, and also the last scene with Jin reminds me of the one Blade scene where Blade. You know what? This seems like Blade spoilery territory, so I'm just gonna put a disclaimer here. Blade spoilery territory. Blade scene where Blade was asking Garen why he was watching the fight, and he said he didn't say nothing either. There was a nice balance with the comedy and everything else in this episode. And lastly, glad we're getting some focus on Hirobi, even though he's still the arc puppet. Was nice for them to touch on why he was raising Jin as a child in the earlier episodes. Edit. Nice to see Ikazuchi play a role again. Been a while. Well, that's not till next episode, but yeah, I'm excited for that suit. And the character was really cool too. So it'd be nice to see. Let's see here. Double the Unknown. Whoa. Double the Unknown says each member of MetsuboJinrai.net has a very distinct role that makes them a very big threat. Hirobi has access to the Ark, which gives them their plans and allows them to build up their army. Naki was their Zaya infiltrator, so they could now hack Zaya's technology. Raiden was their hidden infiltrator who had full control over satellite Zaya, so he may be able to reactivate the satellite, which has full access to human gear data and 24/7 monitoring of human gear.
Yeah, maybe Aruto can get his bike back.
Maybe. I don't know. Jin was shown a few times to possess the power to control human gear and probably has a hidden use for the group that has yet to be revealed. Considering we don't know how he was reactivated. The show seems to have found its footing, so hopefully it can stay this way until the finish. I agree. We're out of Thouser's filler arc, and I was scared that might kill the show, but it didn't, so we're good. Let's see. Next up, we've got Yuki Miyazaki. This episode was a breath of fresh air with MetsuboJinrai.net being the main focus villain. After so long, we've been getting Thouser's villain. Even his own technology is now 1,000% penetrable because Naki awakening in this episode. But I'm confused about her revival, that she didn't show any sign of sentience while she broke free from Zaya, or maybe they didn't have time to show her personality in this episode. Who knows? Next episode, Lightning Boy back in action. Can't wait for his new actor outfit. And then a response from Hafiz Matsabari. We know Ark that hacked Naki in this ep. Plus the eyes turn red, not the headset. That's probably how Ark hacking into other human gear without turning them into Magir, the monster form.
I'm glad me and Alex reacted exactly the same to how you read that name.
I'm trying to do my best here. I don't know how to pronounce it. If you want, y'all can leave a phonetic pronunciation of your name, and I will be more than happy to say it correctly.
Yeah, but just imagine you messing that one up. You know, little break from the comments.
Sure.
One bizarre thing I noticed in this episode were like the fan service shots of like Yaiba, and Yaiba gets weird ass fucking fan service shots. Like one that like I noticed is like she always gets like those freckle shots. Like they zoom in right at him. Like there's no other reason to like.
It's because no
Alex,
one. It's
Alex,
because
I
no
don't,
other girl in Japan has them, so they gotta.
Alex, I don't know what to tell you, but her eyes are right above. Maybe, just maybe, they're focusing on her eyes.
I can't say anything racist right now. Let's move on.
Oh. Implied racism. Hey, Rajik Rasul says, I'm starting to like Yua. Look at her. She's so happy. I wonder what kind of dad was Hirobi before the hack. Maybe
Oh my
it
god, I
was
thought he was going somewhere else.
Just ask. Just go ahead and ask Jen. He'll tell you what kind of daddy Hirobi is.
I
You
thought
just asked
Naki
Arto.
thought Naki was supposed to get what Jin got, that green earring that happened to not being a tool Naki. Looks like the God of Thunder Raiden is ready for Mortal Kombat. Andy L says, coming under Wolken, Animal Crossing, and his domestic violence waifu. So, Fua, you have this coming after you do all those crazy power move on your waifu, and I like how Fua's actor Keep the Neck Pain meme. Let's do this episode recap on his channel. Oh, right.
Okay.
Fua's actor has a channel, a YouTube channel.
If we're doing like this whole karma thing based off of neck injuries, then Yaiba has a bunch more of those neck shots.
No, he's saying I assume that the actor on one of his YouTube videos just pretended he had neck pain from the episode.
Nice.
Let's see. So I thought we gonna have the pinata symptom of Toei, but it just Arto Butterfinger with Jin OP grabbing will not burn Arto's finger off. Seems our Metsubo Jinrai.net team band having an official debut and pushing aside the 1000 ground kissing character and plot all seems getting better. Let's hope the show at least get a okayish ending arc while behind the scene problems.
Yo, if MetsuboJinrai.net gets a roll call, that'll be so nice.
I agree.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. He didn't Toku pocket that progress key. He actually threw it on purpose. It didn't just pinata out of him.
All right. Last comment from, and I'm gonna say his name again, and y'all can laugh at me or some shit, but Hafiz Mat Sabari says, to be honest, this is really good episode and probably the best so far. The moment Hirobi step in, it's get better.
Yeah.
The fact that Nagi literally got hacked by Arc and she hacked Zaya user, that's crazy. Yes! Hikazuchi come back in Hausen versus Suzuran next week. Who watched Crow's Zero will know that reference. Did you watch Crow Zero? Anyone?
What is that?
What?
I don't know.
Is that another one of
Oh,
Banjo's
your reference fell flat, sir. Or
I'm
madam.
sorry,
I'm
sir.
sorry.
Crow Zero is. I know that there are more than 0 crows, so we're not living in the timeline with Crows 0.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
It's only May.
Yeah. Guys, thank you for your wellspring of comments. There are plenty of them this week. And also, just want to put this out there as a blanket statement. Very much appreciate everyone who's been condensing their comments. It really makes this flow a lot easier. But we had like 8 or 9 of them this time. So if you stuck around this long, thank you so much. Very much appreciate it. And yeah, guys, that's it. That's it for this week. We should probably put out more content, but who knows? I might not. We'll see what happens. Guys, thank you so. Oh yeah, Will, thank you for joining us. I will see you again this Friday on RRR the Streets.
Yes.
Over at RR Infinity. Go ahead on over to that channel and subscribe. Oh, and I also released another episode of the Soto Pop Podcast episode last night, so you can check that out if you care about Soto. Guys, thanks for watching.
See ya.
Goodbye.
You're supposed to say later, dude. I know for sure he doesn't watch content.
Bro, I don't even watch content. When I am faced with, like, if I've taken a week off, which is rare, but if I've taken a week